Okay. So did I ever tell you about, I probably have, about the first time that I went to my urologist? And it's been a couple of years ago. And he said, have you ever had a prostate exam? And I said, no, doc, I can't say that I have. And he said, well, we probably need to do one today. And I said, what's that involve? And he kind of told me. He pointed over to the glove factory in the doctor's office. And so I braced myself. And, you try not to be tense. They say, relax, take a deep breath, calm down a little bit. So he did his little thing. And after he finished, and I swear you, I'm not making this up. I know you're going to think that, honest God, this is a joke. It's not a joke. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, you the first person I've ever had to whistle while I gave him a prostate exam. And I said, doc, that wasn't no damn whistle. I said, that was a high-pitched scream. It was. I was screaming like a high school cheerleader at a football game. Oh, Lord. Never had anything like that done to me. So the second time he did it, the following year, I said, doc, seemed like that went much better than the first time. He said, well, now we got an existing relationship. He said, you can relax around it. So, whoo, heavens to be. So, y'all, today, we're not going to do any trading. No trading at all. None whatsoever. I've been out with my sister's dog. When people know that you're retired, they ask you to do things for them. So I had to take my sister's dog to the vet, $245 to have its anal gland squeezed and to get a shot. Unbelievable. We're in the wrong business. But what we're going to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen, is psychology. Trader psychology. Aren't y'all excited? So some of you, I will not mention names, are getting a little nervous. You're getting nervous with events in the world. People are rioting because of COVID. You can barely find a green banana. This is a green banana. It tastes horrible. I thought it was riper than it is. You can't find stuff in the grocery stores. We got supply chain issues. We got Ukraine about to be invaded by Russia. And when that happens, Taiwan will be invaded by China. And the whole time, Papa will be chasing after an ice cream truck. And the world will just fall apart. So we got all that in the news. We got the COVID virus is killing people. We got people in my very own neighborhood that have died this week from COVID. It's kind of sad. But with all that said, you and I trade the markets. And the markets, aren't they a reflection of what's going on in the world? Well, maybe or maybe not. You look at the last 10 years or so, been a lot of bad things that have happened in the world, and yet we recovered from each and every one of them. So you kind of have to think about, what is your timeline? What is your timeline? Because the problem is, you and I have got to a point to where, here's what we like: trade on instant gratification. Why do you think zero DTE is so popular now? Because people want the instant gratification. They want it today. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, let's get my gratification today. I'm in the trade. I've got no overnight risk. So I'm out of the market at the end of the day. I don't care what happens overnight, because I won't be trading in until Friday, because I do it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. That's one thing. But I'll tell you, that's more stressful than anything that you and I do. So what is my time frame? So if you are, if you got to need this money in the next year, you probably don't need to be doing the Sweet Bobby strategy, the Sweet Bobby ultimate strategy. You just don't need it. I wouldn't be doing it. I'd do something else. But if you've got a time frame of 5 to 10 years holding a core position, I think you're going to be just fine. What's your core position? Well, I wrestled last night, and y'all know how I do. I'm thinking about, y'all are nervous. Everybody's nervous. Markets are nervous. The market may be down 60 points in a minute. Next thing you know, it's up 50 points. It's down. People don't know what's happening. I don't even know if the market's up or down. It was up big this morning, and then I saw it was down. I watched it a couple of times, but I really don't care. I really don't care what it is. So it's just going to do what it's going to do. So what we've done is we've constructed a program that gives us instructions to do what we need to do when the market is down. Now, are we experiencing some drawdowns in our account right now? Yeah. And that's kind of tough to take when you look at someone else and they're not experiencing the drawdowns. Well, why are they not experiencing drawdowns? Well, they probably don't have a core position in the market like we do. Maybe they're just doing, just, strangles, straddles, whatever. And they're up, and you kind of see that, and you go, oh man, I'm kind of taking a drawdown in my account. Why is that? Well, it's because you're holding things for the long term, right? We're holding things. And then we've got this little algo that who knows if we trust it or not. I mean, my God, you got some fat, black, glass wearing, spam cap, 9-toe Elton John loving bastard that wrote it into Excel. So we don't know if that works. But it tells us what to do when the market goes up, and it tells us what to do when the market goes down. Now, we have no problem at all selling when the market goes up because we're ringing the register. The difficult part, y'all, is hitting the buy button when the market's down. Because I know what you're saying. Oh my gosh, Bob. Here's what all the experts are saying. Rising interest rate, 4 to 5 rate increases this year. What does that do? Well, it's good for financial stocks, but it's not good for non-financial stocks. And especially the tech stocks and the NASDAQ don't have a single financial company in it. Okay, I got that. And then you go, well, and then you're hedging with TMF. Well, what is that's a bond fund. Well, what happens to bonds when interest rates go up, bonds go down? So TMF may be drifting downward, right? We've certainly seen that. And you've got it as a hedge against TQQ, you idiot, you moron. Okay, I got it. So I got a feeling, I just got a feeling that TQQQ is a little too risky for some of y'all. Okay, I really believe that. I think some of y'all are not going to be able to do it. I just don't think that you got the whatever. I think you're letting the news, you're letting everything get to you, and that's fine. And we have probably violated confirmation biases. We've cherry picked our data. We have violated recency bias, believing that what has happened in the last 10 years will continue the next 10 years. I got it. So we probably violated everything in the moment. So you're scared to death of TQQQ. Okay. So maybe that's not your underlying hope, because it's going to be very, 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 it's going to be very, very, very volatile. And I don't think some of y'all can handle it. I really don't. All right. So let's see what could be maybe something. If you're uneasy and you're scared to death that it's going to zero, and you're like, I just can't hold it, Bobby. It's scaring me. Okay, I got it. What could you do to make it a little bit safer? Okay, let's talk about it. You could do YouPro. Now, I had a long talk with myself last night. I said, Bobby, why are you in TQQQ? And I said, well, Bob, probably because of recency bias, and I've seen what's happened on Portfolio Visualizer if we were in it for the last 10 years. Okay. And it did well, didn't it, Bob? Yeah, it did. Okay. What's the environment going forward? Well, we've got a rising interest rate environment, which is probably not good for tech stocks. Okay, Bob. So what's that going to do to TQQQ? Well, that's going to mean that TQQQ is going to go down. Okay, Bob. Can you handle that, Bob? Can you handle that? And I've asked myself that, can I handle that? And I told myself, I said, I think I can. I think I'm good with that, Bob. And Bob's like, okay. But what about the people that are not? What are you going to tell them, Bob? Because some of them that are following your little stuff that you're talking about here, can they stomach being down 50% in their portfolio? I don't know, Bob. Not sure that they can. I'm really not. Not sure that some of y'all could stomach that. What if your, $10,000 account went down to 5,000? Could you handle that? If your $25,000 account went to 12,500, could you handle that? If your 50 went down to 30,25, could you handle that? I'm not sure. So if you're unsure about that, well, one of the first things you could do is I would probably vacate your TQQQ if you just can't stomach it. And none of us knows that we can until we actually go through it, right? And then I would probably say, well, why don't you try YouPro instead? Now, what is YouPro? So instead of 3x NASDAQ, 3x the Qs, right? This is 3 times SPY. So it's 3x the S&P 500. So rather than having your 102 companies that we've become quite familiar with, you're going to have 500 companies over here. And in fact, not only are you going to have 500 companies, but you're going to have most of these in here. So the S&P 500, I think they say it's about 40% tech. It's about 40% made up of the stuff that's in the Q. So they kind of run together. But if you want it, if you can't stomach the volatility of TQQQ, because quite frankly, it's going to be the most volatile thing that you and I can trade. I would say it's probably going to be even more volatile than if we were in cryptocurrencies. This is the most volatile, most moving thing that we can do. So your first step, if you can't do the TQQ, and remember, I'm asking myself, can you do it, Bob? Can I do it? My first step down would be the YouPro. I would do YouPro. Now, why YouPro over TQQQ? It's not as volatile, right? A little less volatile, but it's still volatile. Trust me, it'll still move. It'll still move up and down. 3 times the movement of the SPY. 3x. All right. Now, it's a little more diversified. Why else would we do that? Well, let's think. We also have a VIX hedge. What is VIX based on? It's based on volatility of the S&P, not the volatility of the Qs. So we have a more related VIX hedge that's more related to that. Also, we've been trading the 111 in the micros, in the micro E-minis, right? So we don't do the 111 in the micro NQs. So we're using the 111 as a hedge against the NASDAQ product that is probably, well, it's not probably, it is more correlated to YouPro. So there's a very valid reason that you would go, these two things are related to the S&P. And then we've got the Bobby Sweet hedge. And y'all saw yesterday that YouTube sided with me. You just cannot trademark a trade. You just can't. You can't say, I've invented the strangle and none of you can trade the strangle. Well, what's this? Hold my U hook, because I'm going to show you a strangle. All right? There's no secrets in trading. All a 3/5 back ratio put spread is a back ratio put spread. That is not new. I'm sorry. Ratio spreads are not new. Back ratio spreads are not new. Back ratio put spreads are not new. It's just it. And you can call it whatever the crap you want to call it. It is what it is. So now this is in an S&P 500 product too, isn't it? Right? It's in the S&P 500 because we're trading the E-minis. So this is related to the SPY. This is related to the SPY. And our VIX hedge is related to SPY. But then we've got a totally kind of non-related thing that we're trading in TQQ. Why are we in TQQ over UPRO? There's one reason. Does anybody know? Because it did substantially better over the last 10 years. It did substantially better over the last 10 years. Does that mean it's going to outperform in the next 10 years? No. So what I did is I looked at those 102 components. I actually went through them all, right? And said, I like this. I like Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper. I like Ross. I like Costco. I like Amazon. But we would still get many of those companies in the SPY as well, right? What does Warren Buffett tell us to do? He says, hey, you'd be better off putting your money in the S&P 500 and just forgetting about it. Just dollar cost averaging the SPY, just wait. That's what he says. You don't need international. You don't need, value. You don't need large cap and small cap and mid caps and all this kind of stuff just to complicate it. You really don't need that. So there's a big reason. So your first step down, because I want to give y'all a little bit of relief. Okay. I want to give you a little bit of relief. If you can't handle the TQQ, you got to ask yourself, if I can't handle, what's the first step down I could do and still do this? Is YouPro. I just gave you the reasons why YouPro is probably a better idea than TQQQ. Just gave it to you. All of our hedges are more closely related to YouPro. Now, probably over the next 10 years, I think that TQQQ is going to do better than YouPro. But if you can't stomach the volatility, if you cannot stomach the drawdowns in your account when the market is down, then perhaps your first step down would be to change your underlying. And the closest way to step down with, I think, eliminating a little bit of the risk would be YouPro. Okay. Now, say you can't stomach YouPro. Bobby, I can't do 3x the S&P. Did you know that there are 2x S&Ps? There's your next X thing. So you could go to ProShares. Let's see if we can go to ProShares. ProShares, shares, ETF. Let's see if we can find them. ProShares. Here we go, the official website. And I'm gonna actually click on this to give Google money. Why am I gonna give Google money? Because they're in the queues. So we just, by clicking on that, they just gave them some money, right? So we could go, let's see, alternative, X factor, thematic, demonstrate. Where's my thing? Oh, here we are, leverage ETFs. There we go. So we'll go broad market. And let's see what all we got here that we can do. Where's my list of them? Here we go. So you see some of these are T2X, right? So here's 2X. Let's do this, the 2X's. Here we go. 2X. Here's the 2X Dow, the 2X mid cap, the 2X ultra Q, okay, the ultra small cap, the ultra S&P 500. Look at that. So you could actually go to something called SSO and do only 2X the leverage. So if the S&P is up 1%, this is up 2%. There's all kind of different things. Or you could do 2X NASDAQ. Where's that at? 2X NASDAQ. Here it goes. Ultra Q, QLD. You could do 2X QLD. So that's your next step down, right? You could actually do something else. So let's say you can't do TQs. You can't do YouPro. Okay, can you do SSO? 2X. Kind of meet in the middle, right? Okay, that's good. So now you've got several different ways to step it up. Okay, so now let's just say you can't do that. Let's just say that's too much for you. I don't want to do any leverage. Okay, what's your next step down? Your next step down is you could do this in SPY, which is the S&P 500, right? S&P 500. Now, let's talk about something else that you could do. If you think there's a chance that you're going to be trading in and out of these shares of SPY for, let me think. Let me think what I'm thinking about. If you're going to be trading in and out and taking short-term capital gains tax, right? I mean, short-term gains instead of long-term capital gains. You trade. What's the other thing that you could do instead of SPY? Y'all remember we used to trade it? What was it? Who remembers? Remember, it's a 1256 contract.
Would it be the micros?
Well, the micros, yeah, with the micros, but what else with it? Who said it?
XSP.
XSP?
Was that it?
I think it is. I mean, I remember. I forget the symbol number because I hadn't traded it much. But I think that's it. It's the S&P 500. Now it doesn't have quite the liquidity. Okay, that's fine. But it is a 1256 contract, which means 60% of the gains are treated as long-term capital gains, right? Long-term capital, LTCG, 40% regular income. So you could even do that if you think that you're going to be selling some of your shares and you hadn't held it for long. And I don't think with our Lacello algorithm that's going to be a big thing. So I would probably, even so, still, because of the liquidity, I think I'd still do SPY. So I've given you a way. If you can't handle the TQQQ, we can't do the 2QQQs. What could you do? You could do YouPro, stepping down, giving you all kind of options. If you can't do YouPro, you could do, what was it, SSO? Okay, if you can't do SSO, then you could do SPY. So we're trying to give you a little bit less risk, a little bit less risk, a little bit less risk, a little bit less risk. Now, what's the other thing that you could do? Well, you could change. So I've given you automatically. You've got 1, 2, 3 step downs. If you want to eliminate the risk, if that helps you to sleep at night, then do that. Now, what's the other thing that you could do? Well, you could change your allocation, couldn't you? So instead of you going, well, I'm going to be 70% into the equity portion and 20% into the bond portion, like I do, and 10% in cash, what could you do? Well, you could easily go, I'm going to do 55, I'm going to do 35 and 10. Right? Let's see, 55 plus 65 plus 35 is 10. So you could kind of say, I'm even going to go a little bit less on the equity, go a little bit more on the bonds, whether that's your, TMF, or what is the total bond fund? Is it BND or whatever bond fund that you want to do? So there's all kind of ways that you can reduce your risk. What I want you guys to be able to do is to sleep at night. Now, can I sleep at night knowing TQQ is in my account? Yes. Do we have people that will troll us? And they'll probably be on my YouTube channel saying, "Oh, Bob, you down this year, aren't you, buddy? You're having a big correction, aren't you, buddy?" And I'll say, "Yeah, because I believe it's going to do well in the long term." Well, if I can't handle that, if I can't handle, being ribbed by a few people, or if I can't handle that, and I've got to actually decide, can I handle that? Because it's easy for us to go to Portfolio Visualizer and see a 50% drawdown over the last 10 years. And it's a whole different thing to experience a 50% drawdown yourself. So when I look at it, I go, I can do it. Now, first of all, let's see why I can do it. Because I don't want to say that I'm anything special, but I'm in different places than some of y'all. I worked since I was 18 years old with the federal government. Y'all, I had a federal job when I was in college. And then I stayed there till I was 51. So I retired with an annuity. I get an annuity every month. Not only that, I keep all my health insurance. I got the best dental insurance on the planet. My dentists are like, "I can't believe your insurance. I've never seen insurance paid like that." I got health insurance. I got the best on the planet. I got the dental insurance. I got the long-term care insurance. Right? I got the disability insurance. I got all these insurances. I got life insurance. I got annuities. Plus, from the time I was 18 to the time I was 50, I was in the C fund, baby. Wasn't no bonds for me. I put all my money back, and then they gave me a 3% 100 match, up to 3% that I put in. Then they matched 50% of the next 2% that I went in. I mean, I was getting over 100%, well, not over 100%, but whatever it was, about 100% return just by putting my money into the thrift savings program. And I retire and I get a lifetime annuity. And I got I'm getting a reduced annuity because I want to make sure if I die first, which there's a good probability because I'm older than Beth, and she's my younger woman. So I will probably go to glory before Beth. So I want to make sure that she receives my annuity after I go. But with all that, I've got my kids' college taken care of. Kid college, that's taken care of. I got my life insurance. I got my annuity. I got my investments. I got my retirement. I mean, I'm in a whole different place than a lot of people. I'm good. I am good. I don't care what this market does with the account that you see that I'm trading here. If it goes down 50%, so you got to understand, where are you? You may not be there. If you're not there, then I don't want you to have the same level of confidence that I have with your money, because it's your money. You're the one that's going to have to be able to sleep at night. But let me give you just a little bit of good news, because regardless of your situation, I want you to always bring this up when I'm encountering something that is hard or difficult in my life. I bring this up. So when I was working on my PhD and it was late at night and I was having to write 10,000 words on something and do some research and some project and I thought it would never end. And I'd want to quit. And here's what I'd say to myself: "Oh, Bob, oh, Bobby, old pal," because y'all know I do talk with myself. I have conversations with myself. I said, "In Bobby, in 100 years, it won't." Nothing gives me more comfort than that. I go, you know what? In 100 years, whatever this problem is that I'm dealing with, it won't matter, because I will not be here. Now, there's a chance that all of us will still be here in 100 years. There's a chance, because they're talking about taking our brains and hooking it up and downloading it and putting it into a robot's body. I got it. Now, I'm not saying that I necessarily want to do that, right? not saying that I want my kids to go, hey, wait a minute. I know we cremated daddy, and let's see if we can, put him back together with some spit and make a brick out of him and try to put him in the robot. Not sure that I want them to do that. I'm not sure that I want my brain sitting on some robot while I'm trapped in there. We're, shooting aliens and flying through the galaxy. Not actually sure if that's what I want, but it's a possibility. But most of us, I would say the vast majority of us, in 100 years, they're really not going to be mad. Because if you're still here and you're still in your body after 100 years from now, chances are, you're going to be drooling all over the place and crapping on your pants every day, right? So even the long life is not necessarily a good thing. So in 100 years, it really won't matter. It really doesn't matter 100 years from now to me if Russia invades Ukraine. Now, it may to the Ukrainian descendants, and it won't really matter if China takes over, Taiwan and we get involved. I mean, I remember I used to grow up, during the Cold War. I was scared to death that I was going to be drafted. I thought I was going to have to go fight the Ruskies, baby. Go fight the Red Army. I was worried to death. When they came around and had our senior class to take the ASVAB test, I said, oh, heck to the no. I was the only one out of 48 students in my high school class, little school, that didn't take the ASVAB because I knew my fat butt wouldn't go. I said, I ain't going in there. I don't have that kind of courage. But even so, if you're in the military, 100 years from now, you'll be dead too. Now, is that a good way to look at things? I don't know. It just makes me feel better. So if I'm doing a difficult assignment or I do whatever, I go 100-year test. 100-year test. Will this really matter? So let's say that I've messed up on something at work. Oh, had an error at work, and everybody and their mama, your supervisor, their supervisor, everybody calls you in. They tell them about what a horrible job you did, and you all upset, and you can't sleep at night. I want you to think one thing. In 100 years from now, this little thing will probably not even matter. I mean, nobody's going to, at my deathbed, remember this little mistake that I made at work. Now, when you're able to think in those type terms, you're able to take much more risk than, I don't want you to take more risk than necessary, but I just want you to realize in 100 years, will this matter? Now, some of y'all are trying to accumulate wealth so that your kids will be taken care of and you're going to change your family tree. The largest impediment to you doing that is yourself. The largest impediment to you being able to accumulate that wealth is yourself. Because here's what the thing that you're going to do. You're going to be fearful when everybody else is fearful. And you're going to be greedy when everything's going well. And you're going to take too much risk. And then you're going to look at somebody else who's trading 0 DTEs and making a lot of money, and you're going to be envious of those. So these are three things that's going to get into your way. So what's going to happen is you're going to be envious of somebody else, and you're going to totally abandon a plan that you've thought out, that you've well thought out. You're ready for the risk. You're ready to begin that endeavor. And 2 months in, you're going to see Mr. 0 DTE that says he's up 48% on the year. And you're going to scrap every single thing that you have ever thought or ever believed about the market because of your envy. And you're going to sabotage your plan. I can remember when my mama, her plant that she worked at, the little automobile plant, was closing and she had to find another job. And she had a 401k plan. And she was like, should I put a little bit into the market or should I go all in? And I told my mama, you should go all in. And so my mama went all in. 4 months later, she was flipping out, flipping. And she said, we got to change it. I want to get into safety. And we got her into safety. And her safety resulted in that she's still, chugging along, and she still got a nice nest egg. She does not have the nest egg that she would have had she followed my advice and stayed the course. It is substantially less. My inheritance is substantially less because my mother got fearful. She got fearful of the market. She said, I can't go all in. Because a lot of people will ask you, should I dollar cost average in or should I go all in? And most of the tests, or the back tests and the studies and the academic research says, you know what? It's better just to go in, baby. It's better just to go in than the dollar cost average. Okay, so some of y'all want a dollar cost average. You don't have a big lump sum, so you want to put in $1,000 a month. Now, there's one thing, one part of our Lacello text that you and I have not spoke about. And I went back and reread it the other day because I've had some questions, people saying, should I dollar cost average? I want to put $500 a month in. And I'll just buy at the high, buy at the low. Do you know Lacello even came up with something else called Twin Vest? Twin Vest. There's a whole chapter on it in the Lacello book. And here's the problem. Some of y'all are trading the dang AIM spreadsheet with me, and you hadn't read the book. Am I getting on you? Yeah. You're trading a program, and you hadn't even read the book. Well, Bobby, you read it. I'm going to believe what you said. Don't believe me. Who the crap am I? The worst trader on the planet. Don't let me steer you into something. You got to read, you got to research, you got to do it yourself. Now, we provide all those resources. I tell you what I'm reading. I'm telling you what's influencing my decisions. And you got to find out for yourself. So he's got a better way of dollar cost averaging than dollar cost averaging. It's similar. Let's call Twin Vest. He's written you a little way that if you want to put $500, there's better than just putting 500 in every time. It's Twin Vest. And yes, I'm going to build it into the spreadsheet. And yes, you can use my spreadsheet. But the problem is you won't read the book. How do I get you to read the book? And I know some of you say that the book is a little bit on the cheesy side. I got it. You know, it's a little cheesy. And does he talk to himself too? Yes, he does. Do I have situations that lead you to believe that I have mental issues? Absolutely. I got a family history of it. Was my daddy, we have to have him locked up 72 hours a time or two? Oh, heck yeah. Was he on a lot of the drugs that I'm on now? Probably. You know, I'm laced up on Adderall and venlafaxine. What do I know? But I do know, when I do have clarity of thought, and that's not often, that Lacello wrote some brilliant things. And one of them is Twin Vest. We don't talk about it at all. And I'll build it in the spreadsheet. I'll have to take double my Adderall one day and sit down and get it done. But your fear is going to cause you to never obtain wealth. It just is. I'm telling you, your fear will keep you from obtaining wealth. Well, Bobby, what if I get wiped out? Well, then you get wiped out and you start it back over. How many of you have started an endeavor? No. You won't do it because you lack the courage. You lack the courage. Because what you're waiting for is for everything to line up. And that's not the way it is. Everything's not going to line up perfectly. Perfection, what did they say? Perfection is something of necessity. What is it? There's a saying about it. Look it up. But perfection will get in your way. Is our plan perfect? Oh, heck not. But if we wait until it's the perfect plan, we'll never start. Perfection, I think it may go something like this. Perfection is the enemy of just good enough. Something like that. So your fear, you're never going to start that business because, well, what if it fails? What if I don't have the regular 9-to-5 job? What if I don't have the regular income? So maybe some of y'all wanted to do, you want to be a real estate broker or agent. So you won't do it because of that fear. Go back 100 years from now, what will it matter? Whether you failed in that or not. They'll be writing about you. They'll be standing at your graveside. But 100 years from now, that's why we have to live, y'all. Oh, my mama says it so many times. She says, Bubba, that's what she called me. She said, Bubba, life is good. It really is. And I pick on her about it. But that's what my mama says. When we one day have my mama's funeral, that's what I'll remember my mama as. My mama was a person, she says, Bubba, life is good. It really, really is. And it really is. And think about it. We live in a world where we used to could ride our bicycles and we could jump rivers and streams and ditches, and we would have our brother or sister under the ramp and we would jump over them. Can you imagine if that happened today? Can you imagine what would happen? Now you got to have bandages on, and you got to have, you got to have safety goggles and a helmet and specialty shoes and specialty this, and we can't do anything. You don't let our kids play out in the dirt. You know why we got so many problems with diseases and infections and all this crap? Because our kids don't play in the dirt. Our kids aren't out there getting worms and amoebas and germs all in them so that they can, develop some type of resistance to all of those germs out there. Some of you right now are scared to death of COVID. And you washing your hands every 10 minutes and slathering yourself with antibacterial gel is not going to help you. Matter of fact, it may hurt you because you're not developing your natural defense mechanism against all this stuff because you got all this stuff that you slathering on you all the time. Stop it. We're all going to die. Every one of us. Probably will all that are gathered here today will be gone in 100 years unless our brain is in a robot. And will you have taken that step to start your business or to start your trading business or to do the unthinkable? Where is your courage? Where is your ability to go out there and be the warrior that God intended you to be? But instead of the warrior that he intended us to be, the person that we're intended to be, to go out and to be a blessing to other people, we just live in our little cocoon. We just live it safe. Just, just getting by. I'm going to stay in my little house. I ain't going to bother anybody. When my sister, I got word today that I had to take that dog over there. And I was like, oh, God. But you know what? I actually enjoyed it. I got to spend time with her little dog. Now, here's what she said. You can't make eye contact with the dog because the dog doesn't know you. So here I am, holding him in his little carrier and trying not to look at him so I can't make eye contact. I'm trying to do what she's saying. Trying to be nice, trying to be kind. And then I let him out, and then we had a good time. I made eye contact with him after we got his anal gland squished. So at some point, we're all going to die. You remember, you go into the Ding Ding store, you go into the store that's owned by someone from India, every store around here. It's amazing. And I love it. And they're the nicest people. The best people on the planet are those from India who own the stores around here. They're so sweet. The guy in downtown Baton, he is a blessing. He really is. But they have the Ding Ding machines in there. You know what I'm talking about? You ever seen the machine where they've got all the quarters in it, and you put the money in it and they're about to fall over that edge. Y'all know what I'm talking about, a Ding Ding machine. And so if you put one quarter in, you just think that it's got to knock those other quarters off. That's what we are. We are all quarters in the Ding Ding machine. And new quarters go in, which are new babies that are born every day. And they kind of push us out to the edge. We're pushing toward the end. And eventually you and I will fall off the Ding Ding machine and we'll fall off and be in somebody's pocket. Dead. So I want you to back up a little bit. Assess the level of risk that you are comfortable with, because there is no way that you should ever lose sleep over your trading. There is no reason for you to wake up and be fearful. Y'all, we saw this week, I had 2 margin calls this week. We went through deliberately how to take care of those, did we not? So this morning, we got it positive again yesterday. So this morning, they send me another email. Now it says, it doesn't say margin cost, it's maintenance requirement. So it says maintenance requirement of $115. So they want me to deposit $115 or close something by the end of the day to get my buying power back up. So what did I do? I closed something to get it out. I closed it, got my thing. I said, they'll be happy. But I said, just in case they're not happy, I'm going to send a few more dollars to them. They want me to send $115 today. So I sent 1K. I put a K. Give them 1,000. But did I ever go, oh God, I'm so upset? No. And you can't either. You can't either. Because what you think is that you're going to be better served by you going to a financial advisor. And it's like I told my Alabama class yesterday. What do financial advisors do? They must complicate it in order for you to pay their fee. Because the ultimate job is to convince you that you're not smart enough to manage your own money, or you don't have the inclination, or you don't have the time, and that they're there sitting for you and waiting for you to make your money. And the problem is that they're going to underperform the market, and you're going to pay them a fee for underperforming. So we're better off to take the Warren Buffett approach and just buy the market. Don't look for the needle in the haystack, buy the haystack. Now, can you dollar cost average? Absolutely. Does dollar cost averaging work? Yeah, if you don't have a big sum of money, it absolutely does. And now I've just told you to get that how to make $1 million in the stock market automatically, and go to the Twin Invest chapter. He's got a whole little chapter on a very simple little formula that'll say, hey, how much of my 500 should I be buying every month? Because he'll say, hey, you need to maybe this month buy $400 worth and put 100 in cash. And the next month, you may be putting 200 in the stock market and 100 in cash, or 300 in cash. So explore better ways to do what is okay to do, and that's dollar cost average. If you don't have that inclination, then just dollar cost average. Dollar cost average. But we don't want you to be fearful. Just don't be fearful. How's things going in the market, Bob? Well, the market's doing what the market's going to do, and we've got a plan. So if the market goes down, we buy more. Well, Bobby, what if it never goes back up? Well, then I'll lose that money. Can you stomach that, Bob? Of course I can. But that's I'm in a different boat than a lot of y'all. A different boat. I made some good decisions. I had a good job. I got a great little pension, retirement, all this kind of stuff. I got the works. I live below my means for all my life. I still live below it. I don't buy things that I don't need. With money that I now have to impress people that I don't even like. Right? How many pairs of blue jeans I got? I think I got 1 or 2. Probably got 5 shirts. I got an old 2011 Nissan Rogue that was given to me by my mom. We drive a prison van. I said, my God, Bobby, that sounds horrible. No, it doesn't. I'm happy as a lark. Happy, 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 happy on my 5 1/4 acres with all my little animals. Happy. Happy. So the thing that I have, that a lot of people don't have, is I have freedom. Oh, and that's the key to it all, right? It's the freedom. That's what we want. It's not that we want the money. We want the freedom that it brings. Freedom. Freedom from your job, where you are a prisoner of time and space. They want you at that job from 9 to 5. And they want you to be in that cubicle. So not only do they want to take you prisoner from your time, they want to take you prisoner from space. Here's the problem. Some of y'all during this COVID thing were able to work at home. Some of y'all got used to working at home. Some of y'all didn't want to go back to the office. Guess who that was? Me, right? Because I just thought I'd work my whole life because I love working. But do you realize for over 20 something years, I drove from Georgia to Birmingham, 20 years. It was a 100-mile commute. It took me 2 hours to get there, 2 hours back. I had a 4-hour commute, 5 days a week, 20 years. And I thought that was going to kill me. But after 2 weeks, I loved it. Kind of in the car by myself, listening to my radio. I would listen to 870 AM and WWL in New Orleans. And there's only a certain time of the year I could do it. It was during football season. So I'd listen to Buddy D talk about the New Orleans Saints. And when I found out Buddy died and the Saints won the Super Bowl, I called the station. Where's Buddy? I know Buddy died. So I had good times in there, but think about those 4 hours plus the 8 hours or 8.5 that I worked, 12.5 hours a day for 20 years. So then I got a job in Atlanta. Oh my gosh. Well, it wasn't as far, but it took me the same amount of time. So it'd take me 2 hours to go to Atlanta. And I did that for, I don't know, 4 years, 4 hours a day, Atlanta traffic, coming back home, missing my kids' ball games, missing my kids' stuff at school because I thought I had to be Mr. whatever employee. Oh, I didn't tell you this. Let me tell you this. You know why my toe got amputated? You know why my toe got amputated? Because we had a conference at work and I got a brand new pair of shoes and I was on my feet all day at this conference. And the shoes wore a little place on the bottom of my foot. And if I had gone to the doctor or if I had, taken off time to get it looked at, I would have never had that toe cut off. But no, I didn't want to take off of work because why? Well, we were busy and we had all this stuff that we had to do and people were depending on me. And oh my gosh, I had so much to accomplish. And what if I didn't go to work? I can't got time to go to the doctor. Okay. So then I was out of work, for a month because I cut my toe off. It got infected. So what was more important? Well, it'd been more important if I'd taken care of my health to start with, but we don't want to do it because we feel that we'll be judged at work or we take too much time off or whatever. And then I go back 100 years from now, what will it matter? 100 years from now, what will it matter? So why don't you take just a few moments and write down what your risk tolerance is, what you can do, what your plan is. Here's my plan. My plan is to get an income producer. I think TQQ is pretty good, but the more I think about it, the more I think, God, YouPro probably is better just because my hedges are more aligned. I don't know. We'll see. 2, what do? Well, we hedge with the Bobby Sweet hedge. Okay. What else we do? Well, that's a hedge. So we're eliminating some risk by doing that. We got the hedge in. We got the VIX hedge in. That's pretty good. We've got the 111 trade in. Yep. That does pretty good on a grind down, doesn't it? Yeah, so far. Hadn't lost on a single one of them yet. Then what do? Well, we do AIM. So AIM is an algo that tells us to sell when it's high and buy when it's low. Buy low, sell high, which is what all the experts tell us to do. And then what do? Well, we put a little bit of bonds in there. So we put some TMF in there. If you don't want TMF and you don't want leverage, go to, BND, TLT, whatever you want to do, whatever your risk tolerance is, and run that AIM on that as well. Okay. Then what else can we do? Well, Bob, if you kind of believe that the market may go down on the things that you're holding, okay, you formed a opinion of market direction, you can sell covered calls against it. Covered calls bring in a steady income from selling calls against the loan shares that you have. What else could you do if I thought the market was going down? We could trade futures. I can eliminate my deltas right now. If I have 120 positive deltas today, I can sell 3 micro futures right now, would give me negative 150 deltas, and my overall deltas would be bearish. That's all I got to do. My deltas would be what? Negative 30. What if I sold 2 micro futures? Then my deltas would be positive 20. I can pretty much 24 hours a day, almost 7 days a week, adjust my deltas. Or I could do that in the micro NQ as well. Wherever I feel that I need to adjust my account, I can do that pretty much 24 hours a day. I can do it at 3 in the morning when I'm waking up having to go pee. What else do we have? So we got our income producer, We got the Bobby Sweet hedge, we got the VIX hedge, we got the 111, we got the AIM. We're adding some bond exposure. We can do the covered calls. We can do the futures. What am I missing, y'all? We have 12. I got to commit them to memory someday. I don't have them all in memory. What else do we do? That's the big stuff, isn't it? That's the big. We got all the hedges in there. We got the AIMs in. Oh, I forgot. We kind of look at the market sentiment with the skew driver, right? Kind of gives us an idea of what's going to happen. Skew driver. Then we got the big green monster. That's 10. Big green monster. And if this is your first time or you don't know what that is yet, we'll draw it at the first trading day of every month. But kind of give us a little bit of hint on market direction. So we've got all these tools available to us. So write out your trading plan and go, if this, then that. Oh, we got linear regression analysis that we love. Y'all know how that works. We show it just about every day. Then what do we got? We got this awesome thing that says the linear regression analysis. We've got the 200-day moving average that allows us to totally get out of the market. Simple daily moving average. If we're below that on the end of the month, so we got all this stuff. We got everything that we could possibly do in a plan. Now work the plan. I'm scared, Bobby. Okay, 100 years from now, you're gonna be dead. Now, how scared are you? Do it. Work your darn plan. What do you think about the possibility of American ingenuity still being vibrant and alive 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now? What's your horizon? If you need the money next year, it's probably isn't a plan for you. If you're going to go 5 to 10 years, I think we've got an excellent plan. And when it's going good, don't be greedy. When it's going good, oh, don't be greedy. Don't just go, oh, what's this? I'm going to take excessive risk. I'm going to do, no. Just work your plan. So what is your plan? And the problem is, and y'all know me, I'm a scientist. I change, I switch, I tweak, I do all this. Now I'm thinking, is YouPro better than TQQ? I got all this stuff going on. I got all these internal things, but not one of it is because of fear. There's not a single thing in me that is motivating me other than I want to have the best possible opportunity for good returns. And I think this plan does that for us. And you know what the plan is. The plan is simple. The hard part is following the plan. The hard part is when you're having a 20% drawdown or whatever the drawdown is of saying, yeah, I'm still here. Especially when you look over your shoulder and you see Mr. Zero DTE trader over there, he's made $1,000 today, he made $1,000 on Wednesday, he made $1,000 on Friday. How many of you beating your head at a job you don't like, with working for a boss that you don't care for, who doesn't care for you, and you're sitting there going, you see your neighbor, get their new Mercedes, and you go, oh man, I got a better job than them. How come they're driving that? Can't live your life like that, comparing yourself to somebody else. Don't compare yourself to me. Bobby's got the best dental insurance on the planet. He's got the best blah, 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 blah. No. You do you, baby. Don't you compare yourself to me. Because, while I was doing that, a lot of people were, probably making more money than me in the private sector. I got it. And there I was just churning, putting 10% of all I made into the S&P 500 year after year after year, through good and through bad, and not looking at it ever, and just doing it. Rod says, I'm in TQQQ for at least 7.5 years. It's currently down 16%. After that, I can move funds to an account that gives me more options, literally. He went 45% TQQQ, 45% TMF, and 10% cash. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Mark, yeah, one of the reasons the federal government is bankrupt. I got you. I got you. I was one of those government employees. I got it. Ken says, been retired 6 years, less 11 days. Still wake up at night thinking, dang, I haven't filed the quarterly report and that stuff. And yeah, I'm in trouble big time. Yep. So Mark's read the book, but it's hard to transport the time frame as this years ago examples. I know, yeah, especially when he's talking about calling the fund and getting information on that. I know it's dated. Yeah, there you go, Lena. Perfect is the enemy of good. That's it. Do you have the updated spreadsheet that doesn't require toss connection? I do. I'm still working on the button on it. I want that button to work. So I'll try to make that available maybe today. Boss is hijacking me. Have a good afternoon. Absolutely. That's what bosses do. What's the title of Lucello's other book, System? Okay, it's all in the same book. It's how to make $1 million in the stock market automatically. And then there's one chapter, I had it over somewhere, that is on TwinVest. And let me see if I can open that up for a second. Open up my Kindle so y'all can see this. Yeah, it's in the same book. The TwinVest is in the book. Let's see if we can find it here. So go table of contents. Here we go. So TwinVest, here it is, chapter 15. The world's safest method for the small investor. And he puts in, which I mean, it's really just brilliant. That is better than just dollar cost average in a simple little chapter. Simple little chapter. So I don't want y'all to be mad at me because, you know, I got the government benefits and all that stuff. I don't want y'all to look at me any different and say, oh, hey, Bob, that's okay. I mean, I did what I had to do, right? People were doing better than me in the private sector, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, so it's all in that same book. All right, any other questions? How y'all feeling today? I hope y'all are good. We've never done a total psychology session, but I think it's good for us. It's good for us to just step back. It's good for us to just say, hey, you know, what are we doing here? What's our plan? And for some of you, it'd be good probably not to look at your account for a month. You know, we get in here and trade every day. Should we do that? Well, I don't know. We're trader nerds. That's what we do. What's the screwdriver? Linda, the screwdriver is one of the coolest things that we have. Let's see if we can have it here. The screwdriver. Let's open it up. The screwdriver tells us the extremes in the market. So let's see. There we go. So we go closest to 30 days, which will be February the 18th. You click this little sign button over here for the one that's in green that's closest to 30 days. So you hit that. And then we look for a 20-point wide SPX spread, and it automatically pulls the data in from the options chain from Thinkorswim, right? And we're looking for the 20-point SPX spread that is trading for $5.20. And then we basically say, well, how far away from the market is that? So it looks like right now it's at, 99. 99. See that? Distance from spot, distance from the money. So 99. So let's go pop it in here and do that. We'll show you what the screwdriver is. So the screwdriver is 1, 19, 22, 99, almost what it was yesterday. I still got to fix this. Hold on. All right. So then we plot the skew. So you see the skew is up here way at an extreme. So what this means is that the market, based on the skew of these options, is at an extreme. And we would expect the skew in the options to normalize. For the skew to normalize, that would mean that the skew would go down, right? Back into some area of what we would call the mean, the average. which normally is between 25 and 35. And we see we've been elevated for some time now. So we would expect skew to normalize. And in order for skew to normalize, what does that tell us about market direction? That tells us that the SPX, again, here we are in the S&P 500, just about everything we do other than TQQ, way to go, Bob, is SPX would be going upward. So SPX goes upward, that would bring this skew driver back down closer to the money. So I always call it, when it's an extreme, this is shooting fish in the bucket. Shooting fish in the bucket. What does that mean? If you are a put seller in something related to the S&P 500, there is no better time than to whop you out a 45-day option and sell it when this skew is up here. Look at that. Because I can tell you, this is going to normalize. And for that to normalize, SPY is going to drift sideways or go upward. I'm sorry, sideways or go upward for this to go back down. We call this shooting fish in a bucket. Fish in a bucket. Fish in a bucket. Fish in a bucket. Is that an extreme? Okay. All right, good job today. I hope everybody's fine. All's well. And it's good that we just talk, you know, the psychology of trading, because it'll mess with you. Y'all, there are people who kill themselves over this stuff. There are people that, honest to God, that commit suicide. You remember the stock market crash of what, 29? Remember the people jumping out of the buildings? You believe that? They kill themselves over this stuff. And all they got to do is say, hey, it's pretty bad. You know, I got to draw down, blah, blah, blah. 100 years from now, what will it matter? So those people that jumped off the building in 29, if they'd have just said 100 years from now, here we are in 2022, what would it matter? Oh, if you can ever look past the immediacy of your problem. But the problem is right here. Remember when I had my car accident? I told you I flipped 70 miles an hour on I-20 over 3 lanes of traffic. My body, I was in my seatbelt, but my body, it came loose. I went over the front seat, over the second seat, over the third seat, and my body was tossed out the rear hatch window on the SUV. And I remember I was blind. I couldn't see out of my eye, and I was gasping for breath, a punctured lung, and the other one had collapsed. You know, and I remember, people say, oh, you probably don't remember that. I remember it like it's right here. Here's where it was. The smell of the rubber, the taste of the dirt and the rubber and the stuff in my mouth, you know, the heat from my body being thrown across the highway and onto the side of the road. It was all here. The sound, the horror was right here. You know, and at that moment, they put me in the back of the ambulance, and I'm like, am I going to die? Am I going to die? We don't know, sir. We're doing the best we can. That's what they told me. And it was all here. And during those times of panic and horror, it's hard to see past the 51 days that you're in the hospital. It's hard to see past the 6 months that you're in a wheelchair. It's past the years of physical therapy, being able to walk and to learn to walk down a step again, you know, the things that we take for granted. So look at your time horizon. When the immediacy is here, just back up a little bit and extend your time frame. Okay. Good session today, guys. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and I will see y'all